We have talked a fair amount on Tabform about Asia and some of the challenges around investing in Asia or accessing Asia. We've talked about connectivity challenges and regulatory challenges and things like that. Today we're going to look at sort of the investable opportunities in Asia, and if you're an active manager, what are you actually looking at and how can you actually take advantage of some of the opportunities there. My guest today is Indy Sarkar, who's the CEO of Annalec. Indy, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
So, yeah, to my point about the investable universe in Asia, I mean, people talk about market caps of the different marketplaces, and it's a big area and this and that. But kind of from the work that you do, can you tell us, what's the actual investable universe that we're talking about when we're thinking about like equity investing in Asia?
That's a great question, Greg, because one of the big challenges that international or foreign investors tend to have when they invest in Asia is the ability to get liquidity or access, which is a real consideration.
Sure.
So when you start to look at Asia as an asset class, and you go to, let's say, the top 300 traded equities or 300 traded companies in Asia, you're getting to about roughly 40-45% of the market capitalization of the top indices in Asia.
Okay.
Obviously, this is ex-Japan, of course.
Right.
And by the time you're at the 500 level, you're getting up to about maybe 65-70%. The trouble is not so much the market capitalization, but beyond the 500 level, you're looking at daily market turnover of less than $1 million a day.
Wow.
So anyone looking to build a sizable position in relation to what kind of Asian exposure they're looking at, you do have a slight struggle in terms of building a position.
Right.
So really, you're really looking at the top 500 to maybe 600 names that are relevant for you to give you Asian exposure, frankly.
Right. And clearly there is opportunity within those names, because obviously there wouldn't be such a focus, on Tabform and in other areas about Asia. There's a lot of talk about the opportunity there, but and again, as I mentioned off the top, we've talked about the challenges around connectivity and regulatory and this and that. What do you see as challenges, again, for say an active manager? Okay, now this is the universe I'm looking at, but I still have some hurdles to get over. What are the challenges?
Absolutely. I mean, if you really think about an active fund manager who's looking for Asian exposure, one of the first issues that comes up is basically information, right? So what kind of information in terms of granularity, in terms of quality that you can lay your hands on.
Right.
Now, so let's talk about information for a starting point. Now, there's obviously enough or loads of information that's floating around, but what you do with information, you've got to convert information to smart analytics. You've got to convert information to actually aid your decision-making process. At that point in time, you're obviously looking at your decision-making process and therefore the resourcing of that decision-making process. So whether you're going to put boots on the ground or whether you're going to build capability back in the US or wherever you're investing from as your home country. So you've got to take a call on that, basically. And finally, I think one of the big issues, as you start to deep dive into Asia, in terms of your exposure to Asia, in terms of the top 500 or the names we discuss, you're looking at language as a barrier.
Sure.
Because a lot of the countries tend to report in local language financials first before they actually report them in English language. So you're looking at markets where that trend tend to move quite aggressively on any information flow. So you really got to be on the top of these three challenges effectively.
Yeah, and now in terms of being on top of those challenges, what's sort of happening and what are people doing to address those challenges?
Well, as you can imagine, there's multiple ways of going about addressing these challenges. Some funds have got a heavy reliance on their broker-dealers in terms of bringing them intelligence and ideas.
Right.
But obviously, that's a relationship which has seen more people wanting to build their own capability in that space. So boots on the ground, putting resources to work, in your home country towards a particular region, that's generally been the case. What we've done from a standpoint of looking at this space is to say that boots on the ground is an expensive proposition. How do you bridge the gap between costs on one hand and your need for intelligent decision making at a fundamental investment process? So we got a product called Annalec ModelViewer, which is looking to bridge that gap by delivering great deal of interactivity in terms of forecast models and your ability to manipulate them on your desktop in order to give you that ability to take a granular view in Asia.
Okay.
Basically.
Good. Well, I think we'll leave it there. perhaps have another conversation and dig a little bit deeper into Analytic and Model Viewer. But certainly, I appreciate you coming by and talking to us about kind of the investment opportunity, because it's clearly there, and some of the challenges that folks watching the video are having, and sort of ways to address some of those challenges. Clearly, it is an area of opportunity, and in this day and age, I think your point about resources and whether what's the sort of return on those investments is key. So we've been joined today by Indy Sarkar, the CEO of Analytic, talking about active investing in Asia. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Greg.